This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 152 of the Dressage Radio Show. Hello and welcome to the program. On this week's show, we hear from American Shawna Harding, who is making her way to the Reem Acra FEI World Cup Finals in 's-Hertogenbosch by way of Belgium. And that's where I caught up with her two horses, as she makes her final preparation for the finals there this week. Shawna, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
Yes, and you're joining us from Europe, where I think you're enjoying a little bit of the European culture as you prepare to go over to Hertogenbosch with your two boys. Now, you've travelled both of your horses over there, both Common and Rigo. Tell us about that trip, Shawna. How was it? You left from sunny Florida to the cold north of Europe. Bit of a shock for you.
A little bit of a shock for me, but it's been really good for the boys to get into some cool weather because we had absolutely no winter in Florida this year. I think it was the hottest winter on record. So we were melting the whole time. And so it's really refreshing to be here in this cool weather. And the boys are absolutely loving it. So the little horse is very, very fresh. And the big horse is still recuperating from the trip. He is just now feeling fit and happy because it was a very long delayed trip coming over. But we're here now and everything's looking really good.
Terrific. When you say your little horse and your big horse, who Come On, of course, is your big pony, isn't he? He's over 17 hands, isn't he, I think? Yeah,
he's 17 too, and a pretty substantial thickness of a horse. And Rigo is the small horse, and he's the little street fighter though. He's pretty snarky. Where Come On's a little bit of the nervous, kind of scared type. So they're kind of an odd couple. But it's wonderful to have Rigo as a companion for Come On. They've been together for 6 years now. I've had them both together. I've had Come On myself for 8, and then Rigo came into the program 6 years ago. So they've been best friends since then, and came over last year together for the World Cup. And we went to World Cup and to Hagen and to Munich and to Brixton's and then back home again last year. So it's nice to keep them together and to keep the training going on. Otherwise, he'd be sitting out in the field getting fat.
Well, yes, absolutely. We wouldn't want that with the year ahead that you have planned, I'm sure, Shawna. Well, tell us about that trip. You flew out of Miami, did you?
Yeah, we were picked up on Sunday at about noon in Miami. We had heard that the plane had been a little bit delayed. And arrived down in Miami, and the plane was supposed to leave at 11 o'clock at night, and it didn't leave until 6 in the morning, or actually 7 in the morning, the next morning. Apparently the pilot had broken his foot in the hotel, and I had jokingly said he was probably dancing on the bar and fell off. But so we were a little bit delayed getting here. I lost probably 2 full days because once we got to Amsterdam at 9:30 at night, of course, the state vet wasn't there to inspect the horses. But it was actually probably a blessing in disguise because the horses got to go into fresh stabling right there at the airport and could relax right away after a long journey and have a night to recuperate before having to get back on a van and driving, the 2.5 hours to Belgium, where I'm staying at a lovely place called Jewel Court Stud. And it's beautiful facility, privately owned from Eliana, and her mother is here, and they're absolutely fantastic people. So I'm just super to be here at a private, nice, quiet place with lots of grass, super footing, and huge stabling for the horses. And the little place where I'm staying, I can look out the window and see them hanging their heads out. So it's perfect.
That's wonderful. And how have they adjusted to being over there in the cooler weather then, Shawna? They're enjoying it, even though it might be a bit of a shock for you. You took coats that you didn't have in Florida, I'm sure.
Oh, I had the coats in Florida. I was prepared. I just never took them out of the case. They are definitely out of the case here, and unfortunately, I only brought one long sleeve turtleneck kind of shirt, so I'm going to have to keep rewashing that until I go. But I have plenty of sweaters and jackets with me. The little horse Rigo is a pistol. He is on fire. He thinks this is just the best thing ever. And if he's not eating, then his tail is up over his head, and he's just ready to work. Come on was a little bit tired from the journey. He doesn't travel quite as well as Little Horse, and he'll eat hay and carrots and things like that. But it's going to take him. It took him a couple days just to kind of get back into the swing of things. I think he jet lags a little bit harder than the little one does. But he felt great today to ride, and took him for a big hack in the woods, and then took him and rode him in the outdoor school, and he was fine. So he'll be in the next couple of days just getting fitter and fitter and bouncing right back to where he was.
So how much work would you do with him then? Because we should remind everybody, he's your World Cup horse, isn't he? Rigo's just gone along for the ride to stay and work with you.
Yep, and possibly I might compete Rigo in Hagen over at Horses and Dreams at Uli Kappelman.
Okay.
I might take him into the small tour there, but my goal with Rigo is to keep moving him up towards the Grand Prix. So, having this little middle phase here is important that he stays, in the training and in the program. But come on, he doesn't have to learn anything at this point. He just has to stay nice and fit and good at his mind and happy in the work, and just more muscle training, condition training, that kind of thing. And then right before the show, we obviously sharpen him up to get him, to do a nice test.
Right. Do you have a trainer on the ground with you, Shawna?
Right now, no. But my coach he's actually Dutch, but he lives in America, Roel Thielemsen, is coming over. So he'll be here hopefully Sunday or Monday. So we'll have probably Monday, Tuesday to work a little bit on the freestyle. I'm not sure which freestyle I'm going to ride yet. I have two, so I'm just debating if I change it to the one from the one that I rode already last year to a little bit different one, just to keep it fun,
Right.
I've kind of rode to this freestyle quite a bit now from, last season and this season, so I might go back to my previous freestyle music and see how I feel, but we'll figure that out before we know.
What would the music be then, your old freestyle?
For the other freestyle is a little bit more edgy, kind of rock. It's more AC/DC and the Police and Kid Rock.
Right. So good, really good, lively music. Then
very lively music.
Yeah.
The crowd really likes it. And there's, also when you're starting off, the difficulty factor in the beginning of my freestyle that I've been using for the atmosphere in Herzogenbosch, I just have to see, if I can pull it off or not. So I might go to something a little bit different that start off on a little bit softer place, a little bit more the trot work that he does so well, instead of starting off in the canter where, when he first comes in, he might be a little bit like, oh, wow.
Now, this is obviously a big change in environment for him, from the sunny outdoor Florida where he's been all winter to go indoors into a very cozy environment, which is at Herzogenbosch at indoor Brabant. That's going to be quite an adjustment for him, isn't it?
It is, and I'm going to try and get to the competition a little bit early, that we can ride as much in the arena as possible, that he really feels comfortable and at home there. I was so proud of him last year going to Leipzig, and, we rode right after Edward Gall, which was exciting, and the crowd was very excited. So we had to ride into a very loud, exuberant kind of atmosphere. So he handles it well. And sometimes I think it might make him focus a little bit more. It just depends, like you say, being outdoors the whole season now and then coming in for this one show that's going to be a lot of atmosphere atmosphere and a really good crowd, really good public, with people cheering and everything. And being so close, there's not a lot of room outside that arena to where the tables and the people start. I mean, you can pretty much reach out and touch each other there.
Yes.
So, but I'm excited. I've dreamt my whole life of competing at this show. I groomed many years ago for Dr. Rainer Klimke and was, there at that show and just fell in love with it. And, that and Acra, I think over here are pretty much dream shows to be able to participate in. So, and of course Hagen also. They do such a good job. Uli Kasselman does such a fantastic job at that show. It's all first class and really good family atmosphere, and everybody is just wonderful and social, and it's a good kind of jump from this show right to an outdoor show that we went to last year. So.
Let's just reflect on his form this winter in Florida, Shawna. As you go into a major competition like this, were you overall happy with the way the winter went? Just let's give us an overview of that, if you would.
I think at the beginning the heat was definitely a factor. I think because we just didn't get any cool weather, that I felt in the beginning of the season that he could have been maybe just a little bit fitter. I think towards the end of the season, he started to get really fit, and was taking the heat a lot better. I think he's in a good place now. I'm hoping obviously that he'll have enough for the show, and I'm sure he will. He always can dig something down and bring it up. But it's, like I say, we had an incredibly hot winter in Florida, and I just don't think that the horses ever had a chance to kind of have that cool breath like they're having now. I think it's super refreshing for them. And also to be able to go out on the green grass, which in Florida is also a problem, with the sand, paddocks, they go through the grass so quickly, and then, they don't want to be outside as much. Whereas here, everything's cool and green and lush, and I think they're very happy.
So, in a good place then, going into these World Cup finals, which are very prestigious. It must be fun to have that opportunity, as you say, not just for the venue, but to be able to compete with the Europeans. Especially in this year, it's a really good measure of where you are in your training with a horse, isn't it? Going into an Olympic year. Yeah,
definitely. I had kind of not planned on coming over this year because of London, and hopefully being able to do the selection trials and come out with good standing. It was kind of unexpected to get the invitation, because I thought that Jim was going to go, and I thought, I can go home because I've been gone for so long traveling, for the 4 months we were in Europe last year, and, the Florida circuit and everything else is just time gets eaten away. But I am so privileged to be here, and to be here on my own horse that I train from a young horse, and have brought up the levels, and to be able to show in such a huge international venue with so many, superstars. That's really, really fantastic.
Yeah, and he's coming 13 this time, isn't he?
He'll be 13, yeah.
Yes. And he's, of course, another Danish warm-blood gelding. So now what are you going to do with these two boys then whilst you've got them over there after World Cup? What's the plan, Shawna?
We go straight to Hagen, which is the next show. And that's at Uli Kasselman. That's Horses and Dreams.
Right.
And then we come home. They fly back into New York. Michael Barristone was nice enough to drive my rig back up to New Jersey, so I'll pick that up. And then we'll go back to Acre, South Carolina for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then go back up for the selection trials.
The all important selection trials. So you'll get a chance to sleep in your own bed at least for a few weeks.
At least for a few weeks, yeah. Unless I change my plans and decide, I don't know, stay a few more weeks or maybe stay up in New Jersey. It just depends on how the horses travel and how fit, they are and I am. Because it's a lot of hours behind the wheel of the truck, and a lot of time for them standing. in the trailer. So, you just have to kind of pick. So I have a plan, but, those plans can change just depending on circumstances. And if I think it's too much travel, then I won't take them back down to Aiken. I'll just stay up in New York or New Jersey until the selection trials and not have to move them so much.
Right. Now, whilst you're in Europe, what else will you going to have time for? Any shopping, any chocolate shopping, any luxury goods there in Belgium and Holland while you have the time to do some at least some window shopping?
Well, I don't have a lot of time because I'm here on my own with the two horses. So getting them out, multiple times a day and just, working with them kind of eats the day away. But I was going to think about maybe going down to Brussels or up to Antwerp and seeing about getting some souvenirs for some family and friends back home. I hear that the chocolate in Belgium is the best. So I'm sure they would enjoy it when I get back to get some good chocolate.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good. What else are you enjoying? You enjoying the food and the wine?
Well, I'm here on my own, so no.
Oh, we're going to have so many volunteers to come over and join you once they've heard this, Shawna.
I know, but it's nice actually to have a little downtime after Florida. Just to have a couple of days to myself, and because when we get to the World Cup, it's all one big party. And especially in Herzogenbosch, I mean, you have dinners every evening and it just goes on and on and on. So, a little downtime where I can sleep and kind of recharge my batteries is also a good thing because we go right from there to Hagen, which is also another kind of super nice, more family oriented, but it's also a big party and a social gathering and you see everybody and that's my friend Anna Merfeld is coming up from Italy. She rides for Ireland, but she's coming from Milan. So I get to see her in Hagen. So I'm sure there'll be many late nights.
Oh, yes. There'll be a few glasses of something consumed, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks. And what about your family, Shawna? Will they be joining you for World Cup finals?
My husband is coming over for the World Cup, and I think that's it.
Your chief cheerleader?
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I'm glad I found you in Belgium there and was able to catch up with you before you head over to your very busy schedule in the next couple of weeks. I want to wish you the best of luck in Herzogenbosch. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and I hope the horses go well for you and you have a great time.
Well, thank you, and thank everybody who's kind of been helping out with the fundraising and sponsorship for so many different things. Can't even list. But it's been really heartwarming. So many people reaching out, and so many people, other riders that are my teammates and things that have really reached out to help me get here again this year. It's been really, really nice.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations on that. That's marvellous to know you have that support behind you. We'll put a link, Shawna, to your website so people can keep up with you there. I'm sure you'll be posting updates. And on Facebook, too. They can catch up with you on Facebook. Yeah,
the Facebook is more current than the website, so Facebook is the way to go.
Wonderful. All right. Well, have lots of fun over there, Shawna, and we'll catch up with you when you get back to the States.
Thanks so much.
And as you heard, I spoke to Shawna while she was still in Belgium. She will, of course, by now be over at Herzogenbosch preparing for those finals that are taking place this week. And we will be following that here on the Dressage Radio Show and bringing you a review on next week's episode. But for now, that's all for this week. You can follow our show notes over at dressageradio.com, and you can, of course, leave your comments, questions and suggestions on our Facebook fan page. I'm Chris Stafford, and I will be back at the same time, same place next week. So until then, thank you all for listening.